This is going to be an overview / safety video for the Berkshire Cycling Association Fall Foliage Gravel Grinder. The date of the event is October 4th, 2015. It starts and finishes at Canterbury Farm in Becket, Mass. The ride benefits the Pittsfield High School boys and girls cross-country running teams. The athletes on this team will be manning the aid stations with enthusiasm you will enjoy. Last year, we gave the entire net proceeds of the ride to these teams. You can start anywhere between 9 a.m. and 10 a.m. The aid stations are set up to open for fast riders riding 16 miles per hour and starting at 9 a.m. and they will close for slow riders riding an average of 8 miles an hour starting at 10 a.m. 16 miles an hour might not seem fast, but it's the speed one of the fastest riders in Berkshire County rode last year's course in. He also set a few Strava KOMs during his ride, so he wasn't taking it easy. 8 miles an hour is about what I seem to average, and I'm one of the slowest riders out there. This year's course is almost entirely different from last year's. We have much less pavement, more dirt, and several abandoned or unmaintained dirt roads, which I think you'll find quite interesting. The majority of the ride is on well-maintained dirt roads and some paved roads. The climbing is a little gentler than last year, but we still have George Cannon Road, which is really quite difficult, so the climbing masochists will appreciate still having that. We have about 5 miles on unmaintained dirt roads. These in other places of the country are called Class 4 roads or Pave. I think you'll enjoy them, and later in this video I'll show you a bit of them as they might influence your choice of tires. The total distance of the ride is 54 miles. It took me 6.5 hours to ride it, or an average speed of 8.1 miles an hour. But I'm on the slow end of the spectrum, so I think that'll be on the high end of what people end up riding this course in. There is 5,400 feet of climbing in the ride, which is pretty typical for any bike ride you do around this area, about 1,000 feet for every 10 miles, so nothing really insane. 2 great Pittsfield bike shops will be providing support during the ride. Tom Martin from Ordinary Cycles will be roving around to help fix any mechanicals. Berkshire Bike and Board will be supplying extra tubes for the aid stations and will be providing a sag wagon. The route will be well marked with signs. They're like political lawn signs, white with red lettering on them. Last year, someone turned one of those signs around and another was stolen. So we're also going to spray paint big F's on the pavement and dirt where possible at all the turns. So go by the F's, go by the spray paint, because that can't really be messed with if there's a difference between the spray paint and the signs. We will also give you a cue sheet and a GPX file you can download to your bike computer to follow. Canterbury Farm and the Becket General Store will be providing food for an after-ride party. We have John By and Peg Cohen hopefully coming to play some music for you live. And Wandering Star Brewery will be providing some beer for the after party. We currently have 66 people registered and really need to get over 100 to cover our costs. So if you can, please spread the word on any social media sites you're on, especially any cycling related groups or email lists. That would be much appreciated. You can search for F2G2 2015 on the web to find the Bike Reg event, or you can click on the link in this description of this video. Safety is a huge concern for us and should be for you too. Last year we only heard of one person getting hurt on our ride, and it was a woman who fell while trying to take her jacket off while still riding. So please obey all rules, especially keeping to the right and stopping at stop signs. Control your speed and stop when you're changing your clothes. So you've been watching some video of the course so far, but now I'm going to switch to video and audio I recorded during my ride, where I point out some of the things to watch out for. Thanks for watching, and I hope to see you at our ride. Thank you. Okay, so the first place you got to kind of watch it is when you cross Route 20, a little shy of 4 miles. Route 20 is a highway with speeds of 55 miles an hour. Just look both ways. The visibility is quite good right there, and shouldn't be any problem. There's not a lot of traffic, but just be careful. The next place you have to watch it is a little after that natural colored house, around 7.4 miles. You're going to be coming down a pretty steep hill, and at the bottom of it there's a sharp right and onto Gibbs Road, and I overcooked that corner a little bit. You don't want to do that during the ride. At about 8.5 miles, you're going to come down to Route 23, go across this bridge, and there's a sharp right onto Route 23, which takes you to Otis in about a mile. It's all downhill, very fast downhill, but just be careful on that corner you don't drift out into traffic. At the bottom of that hill, about 9.5 miles, you're going to come to the center of Otis, and you're going to take a left onto Route 8. Obviously, watch for traffic here, like that car, and then make the left. You're going to go down there just a little ways and take a right onto a road that leads to Otis Woodlands, and then you're going to be back on dirt. At about 12.6 miles, you're going to be coming down a very fast downhill with a very slight uphill that's not going to kill your speed. There's a yield sign there, but really you should stop because you're crossing a paved road right there. And just look both ways. It's kind of blind to the right side, so watch it. At around 15 miles, you're going to go by that house there on the right and start going downhill on some road that is not as well maintained as some of what you've been on so far. So it's going to be very fast descending, kind of rough, and just control your speed and be careful so you don't crash. Shortly after that last downhill, you're going to come to this barn along the left-hand side of the road and that house on the right-hand side. Go by this stone wall, and you're going to come to a section of the road that bears to the right and turns to pavement, but it's rough pavement, and it's steep downhill and curvy. So just be real careful, control your speed, don't go swinging out way wide because oncoming cars could be coming, and just take this a little bit cautiously because it's pretty steep, pretty rough, and quite curvy. Now, not from a safety perspective, but at about 17.5 miles, you're going to come to Viets Road, which is pretty tough, very steep uphill, very loose, rocky, kind of mountain bike-ish, and you might have to walk. So wear shoes that are appropriate in case you do have to walk. This is probably the only place you will have to walk, and it's only maybe a quarter mile or a half mile at the most that most people would probably have to walk. So just be aware of that and wear shoes. Don't wear road cycling shoes. Wear shoes, mountain biking cycling shoes, so that you could walk without slipping. When you're nearing the top of Viets Road, it opens up to this field, and the road goes straight ahead, and it's pretty loose rocks. And what I did was I tried the grass over to the right because I noticed some tire tracks over here. But it's pretty soft in the grass, so it's really a toss-up whether you want to ride the grass over here to the right or the road over on the left in the ditch. It's up to you really, but as you approach this house up here, don't go onto his nicely mowed lawn, please. Just stay either in that ditch on the right or where I'm riding right here. So my wife is actually pulling away from me, riding up the dirt, whereas the grass was kind of soft. So it's up to you really. A little after 20 miles, you're going to go past that log cabin on the left, and the road's going to kind of deteriorate into an unmaintained road. And it starts out okay, but pretty soon into it, it gets pretty rough right there. And then I went down a really rough stretch over here to the right. You might be better off on the left. I don't really know. But just be careful. This is where I went through, and it's pretty rough on the right-hand side. It gets better further down, turns into a nice, smoothish double track. And the center of the road is a little better maybe than the edges, but it's up to you where you want to ride. Just be careful. It'll be nice for a while, then it'll be a little bit rough, then it'll get nice, then it'll be a little rough. So kind of varying conditions through here. The first aid station is around 21.5 miles. It's at York Lake. It took me around 2 hours to get to this point. It's got some nice picnic tables, a beautiful lake to hang out by. Hopefully you enjoy that. It is a little later in the ride, possibly, so take 2 water bottles full of water and some food with you to get you through to that point. It was about a third of the way through the ride for me, so that's not too terrible. There's a lot of downhill and easy riding to get to that point. And last year we had the aid station at 17 miles, and everybody thought it was too early. So that's why we have it later this year. The next thing you really have to worry about is at around 24.5 miles, you're coming down a very steep hill into Southfield, Mass, and you're going to go by some residential houses, and there might be a person walking a dog, there might be cars pulling out, but just control your speed through there. You're going to go along a little ways and come to a metal bridge that you have to cross. So the decking on the bridge is metal. Be very careful going across there. Mile 33, you're going to come out to Route 23, which is a road that has quite a bit of traffic, and pretty much you will have hardly seen any cars at all until this point in the ride. And you're going to go down that road a little ways. I switched over to the left-hand side of the road when it was safe so that I could take a left-hand turn onto Swan Road. So Route 23's got quite a bit of traffic. Just be careful going along there. A little after 34 miles, you're going to go by Swan Lodge. And I'm not sure if we're going to have the aid station here or just slightly before it. Just after Swan Lodge, you're going to start in on our third section of Pave, which is Brett Road. It's pretty rough and can be kind of slippery when it's wet. There are 2 bridges on this road that we rebuilt just last weekend. And this is the first one. It's pretty narrow. If you're uncomfortable riding it, get off and walk. There's a rather large log in the middle of the trail, which was way bigger than I could chainsaw out, so I made a little path around the left side of it so you can... I was hoping you could ride it, but when I actually tried to ride it, it was a little too difficult to ride, so you're probably going to have to just walk around that log. Well, this is pretty rough on a road bike. So just control your speed and be careful. Try not to get it flat. This pipe is okay to cross, but be careful on it. Well, we're coming up to the second bridge that we rebuilt, and it's a little tilted. The footing on it is terrible, so just be careful of it. It's a little bit of a drop off the end, and then we kind of built that corner a little wide so you can make it. We mowed this next section right down the middle and removed all the sticks so you can go right down the grass. This log was big enough that I didn't want to mess with it with my chainsaw because probably get it stuck. So you'll have to get off and do a cyclocross thing a lot faster than I just did that. But yeah. Last year we got a ton of rain the day before the ride, and this was all mud. But this year, hopefully we won't, and it'll be like this. When you're going down Brace Road, just be careful because there's a couple drainage ditches dug out that'll throw you over the handlebars if you don't take them right. So a hole there. There's one of the drainage ditches. Another one. This one you think you're out of the woods. This is the biggest one. Be careful there. Cross their cows here at this farm. Got a real nice aroma. Now here's where you have to watch it. Go slowly. Wow. 40.8 miles, take a right on George Cannon. Hi, old boy. Hello. 42.07 if you look to your left Cannon. 0.25 or so is the third aid station. Here we are at Canterbury Farm, where we started. This is our greeting party. Hello, buddy. Hello. How you doing? Hey. Man, that is a long ride. I got 53.3.
I had just shy of 54, so...